Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Infragistics Ultimate 2025, a year of purposeful innovation. With me today is George Abraham, of course, our product owner and head designer on all things Ignite UI and App Builder. And of course, my name is Jason Barris. Our emails, Jason B and George A at infragistics.com. So today we're going to walk you through highlights and recap of 2025, along with some demos that you might find interesting. We did just do a 25.2 webinar a couple weeks ago, which was really good. And there was a real deep dive on some features there that you might want to go check out. But what we want to talk about is 2025. And 2025 really reinforced our commitment to how we build software. You can see we're focused on performance, consistency across the products, modernization, and really empowering your teams to deliver beautiful experiences faster than ever. We've had this vision for years, and we keep innovating every year to deliver what you expect to drive digital transformation and amazing experiences to your customers. So we look at 2025, and if you can break it down, there's really three pillars of innovation. The first one is supercharging development with AI, which we're going to talk a little bit more about, and you'll see in a demo today. Engineering next generation performance. We covered this a little bit over the last couple of months, but I want to really highlight it today. When you think about how you need to build applications that exceed whatever performance that your users might expect, we really focus in those areas. And then a unified modern dev experience. So how are we pulling all of this together into an experience where you don't have to think about what platform am I using? We have components and capabilities across all of the modern UI platforms that you can take your apps to market with. So talking about supercharging dev with AI, we've done a ton of work in AI and App Builder over the last 12 months. We just rolled out a release in the last week, and that covers where sort of a baseline of capability is, and then we're really going to focus on building on that in 2026. We think we have a very unique value prop with App Builder versus just other vibe coding tools, where you really need certainty in the UX, certainty in the outcome, and certainty in that generated code. So of course, AI-powered view creation is critical. Basically, describe what you want, and App Builder generates it. If you want to give App Builder an image, we'll take that and we'll generate an application from that. We've also done work on smarter data source generation. So right now what happens is the AI will actually generate data based on the type of application you're trying to build. When we look at the roadmap, you'll see that we'll be able to integrate in your own data into the App Builder experience, which is sort of already there if you do it just WYSIWYG, drag and drop, but we're going to enable you to do that with AI. And then AI-powered theme management. What you'll notice is that when you ask for an application and you describe it, App Builder is going to generate what the AI believes is a beautiful looking experience, and that includes the theme. We're going to continue on that theming story in 2026, but it ends up being a pillar of what we're trying to do with App Builder. So it's not just going to be some random generic Tailwind look and feel. You're going to have all the beautiful components with Ignite UI and then beautifully themed as well. Also in App Builder, we've done more features that help you build out smarter apps. So conditional actions and advanced query building are part of that. So with conditional actions, you can do navigation actions, data actions, variables, if-else actions. So all of this is now built into App Builder. It gives you more capability as you're building out apps versus having to generate code and then having to go add that code later. And then we released our advanced query builder, which is amazing. So if you need to do some rich querying on your data, the query builder is the tool to do that. You have and groups, or groups, conditions, etc., but it allows you to really deliver a great query experience to your users bound to the grid or other components. Now we look at pillar 2, engineering next generation performance. This was a huge effort that we focused on over the summer. So while the grid was blazing fast before, the scroll performance was amazing, we still knew there was areas that we could improve. So we focused on things like sorting, expanding records, grouping records, and how can we improve the overall interactions that you do with the grid, not just the scrolling horizontally or vertically, which of course you know we are the best on the market there. Nothing scrolls better or faster or smoother than the Ignite UI data grid. So we've improved sorting by 3 to 4 times for data sets with 100,000 or more records. A lot of you are doing very large data sets and you need high volume, sort of real-time experiences when users are interacting with that data. We've done the work there. You'll see huge results if you update to the most recent releases of Ignite UI. And then overall data operations. So I'm doing grouping, I'm expanding, I'm collapsing, I'm doing other interactions on that grid. We've reduced that time by 35% or even more based on how many columns you have and what you're actually doing within the grid. So performance ends up hitting all of those grids, our tabular grid, the tree grid, the hierarchical grid, and the pivot grid, because the underlying foundation is the same no matter which grid you're using. So we're excited to get this into your hands because performance really is a key differentiator in what you're bringing to market. So we have to make sure that you're enabled using the Ignite UI grid. And then, of course, along with performance comes just features. Features are what drive your grid choice. Ignite UI, just like our WPF grid and our Windows Forms grid, has all the features that you need, and we're still adding more. So cell merging was one of those features that's been on the backlog for a while. So we finally added cell merging to the grid, so you can do this as a preset on a sort, however you'd like. We've got bidirectional column pinning, so you want to pin columns to the right or the left in the grid and in App Builder. And then, of course, master detail templates has been around in the grid for a long time, but you weren't able to do this in App Builder. We're adding more complexity to the features that you can do with the grid inside of App Builder, which will allow you, again, to not have to worry about generating code and then adding code later. We want you to do everything inside of App Builder to customize the experience that you want to deliver. And then when we think about this third pillar around a unified and modern developer experience, if you look at some of the key components we shipped in the last 12 months. We've got the tile manager, the tooltip, the updated tooltip. We always had one, but it's gotten better. A date range picker, our new AI chat component, which I'm super excited about. It is an awesome component. Divider, and of course the dashboard tile, which we rolled out earlier this year across every platform. You'll see that we're looking for platform parity across the board. So not only do we want to have platform parity in the components, we want to make sure that those components are in the toolbox in App Builder. So you don't have to think about, is my dev team going to use Blazor to deliver this app or React or web components? Use whatever you want in the toolbox. And not only will those components be available in the platform of choice, but also in App Builder. So where you see something like the AI chat not being in Blazor yet, well, it's going to come to Blazor very, very soon. So we're excited about continuing to push this story about cross-platform consistency and parity across all of the modern frameworks. And then when we think about modern, what is a modern framework? You can see here we are on the latest versions of all of the most modern frameworks. So we have full support for Angular 19 and Angular 20. We have server-side rendering improvements, more efficient app operations going back to our performance pillar. And .NET, excited to release .NET 10 support across the board. So .NET 10 has major leaps forward in all kinds of capabilities, but especially just core performance. So just upgrading from .NET 8 to .NET 10, you're going to see enormous performance improvements in something like Blazor. And then on the React side, we have support for version 19 in React in 25.2. So continuing to push all of those modern frameworks in all of the Ignite UI components. And then, of course, we did mention earlier that in these frameworks, no matter what you're using, we have the underlying component is the same. So the way that we're building software is that the underlying component has a shared code base no matter what platform you end up building in. So you're going to see these performance improvements across every single one of our modern stacks. So when we look ahead, what does 2026 look like? We're not letting up. So this is a sort of a high level view, and we'll have a few more details as we wrap up after some demos. But at Builder AI, we are continuing to push and push and push with AI. We know you want to build software just using conversational in-place AI experiences, and that's what we're focused on, along with theming and data and all the other good stuff that goes along with it. So when we think about 2026 and Ultimate with App Builder, it's all about AI. And then moving on to Ignite UI, we're talking about AI there as well. So no matter where you start, be it in App Builder or be it in Cursor or Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio, we want you to have the best developer experience with Ignite UI. So shipping MCP servers across the board and plugins that allow you to build apps no matter where you start. One of the cool things is our App Builder MCP server, where you can just start building App Builder projects right in Visual Studio Code, and you will see that coming in 2026. And then, of course, I keep harping on this unified developer experience, new components in the toolbox, components that are across every modern framework, and then parity across those frameworks is critical as you look at what component library you want to choose for your enterprise-grade applications. But what is some other big news that we're making here in the month of December 2025 is that Ignite UI is going open source. So what does this mean? This means that Angular, React, Web Components, and Blazor now are open source. Doesn't mean anything changes. You're backed by the same world-class engineering team. But what it does do is it reduces barriers to you trying the product or trying something different, or if you want to evaluate another platform. Great. It's easy to do that if you don't have to go through sales, purchasing, all these other things, and then you realize, hey, these components are really what I need. And if you want a more robust grid, if you want better support, if you want more features, great. Upgrade to the full Ignite UI package, and you have all of that. So we are open sourcing about 50 components, and it's not just like text boxes and buttons. There's a lot of meat to what we're open sourcing, and you're going to see that in the demo for what we're going to open source. But what's cool is we're also open sourcing a data grid. So while the data grid is really the backbone of what you look at Ignite UI for, and our data grid has 50 enterprise grade features that are required for an app, there's still the need for a data grid that just does super fast rendering and live streaming and all that good stuff that you would need just to show data in a table. That's the Grid Lite. So the Grid Lite has a subset of features. It's completely MIT along with all of the other open source components, which means you can grab the Grid Lite, use it in any project, even your personal project. So maybe your company is buying Ignite UI and you want to use Ignite UI in personal projects, but you don't have a license. Well, guess what? You can do this now. And this has come up over and over again over the years. Can we have a personal version for what I want to do at home? Well, now you can, because Ignite UI is open source and MIT. So what we want to make clear, though, is that this shift, its goal is to simplify usage, adoption, feedback loops, obviously improving components where you may want to, but we are still the same enterprise level product. We are still the same dev team. We are still adding features and building on Ignite UI. Ignite UI is a pillar of our story, especially when we talk about App Builder, AI, and that type of coding. So you don't lose anything with the MIT open source announcement, you actually gain because over time there might be a bigger community actually contributing to what we're doing in Ignite UI just to make the product better. So we are really excited about this announcement, and we hope that you start taking advantage of these open source components right away, especially the open source grid, which is the same grid that we just talked about that has these massive performance improvements, etc. Just a few less features, but if you want all the features, great. You'll upgrade to the full Ignite UI package. So when we think about this open source initiative, I kind of covered some of this already, but we've always been very transparent with Ignite UI, our development process. If you go to our GitHub repo, you'll see all of our wikis, all of our docs, you'll see all of our code, all of our samples, all of that is still available, plus, right? So we are very transparent about how we build software, what the expectations are if you want to add to our software, etc. So we're more or less just opening it up now to the community. So we want faster evaluations by maybe new prospects, new customers, or existing customers that haven't tried certain features. Community contributions would be great. I know in open source, everyone's very busy now. It's not like you have a ton of time to contribute to open source, but now you can, and you can contribute directly to Ignite UI. And of course, with open source, you do reduce that lock-in risk while still getting the right side of my slide here, all of the enterprise value. So when we talk about what you're getting, it is the same enterprise level components that have always been in Ignite UI plus, right? So we still are delivering amazing features, amazing performance, beautiful theming across all of our Ignite UI components, with many of them now being MIT. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to George in a second, but let me just show you a couple of things here on the website that should be of interest to you. So the first thing is, from the main menu, when you go to design and development, you're going to see these links that have the grid samples based on the platform that you might care about. So what we've done is we have built and added some really beautiful enterprise-like samples for different scenarios. So ERP inventory, like a tree grid with an org chart, financial portfolio with streaming, a sales dashboard, which is really about using the pivot grid, fleet management. All of these guys you can go full screen with. You can download the source code. The idea is, Ignite UI, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know with this product. And it's hard unless you see something that's really already done and done beautifully. Well, this is what these samples are really about, is giving you the ability to go grab the source code, learn from these samples, and then understand how you might implement this in your own application. Let me go to design and development, and I'll just select web components here. And I'm going to scroll down, and you're going to see some new beautiful samples that we've pushed out on the homepage. So this one is similar to the fleet management that I showed you earlier. If I continue to scroll down, you're going to see a new doc manager sample, which is absolutely amazing, using our new chat component. But this is just so beautiful and stunning, and it really does highlight the capability of what you can do with our UI components, and then just tons of new beautiful chart examples. So let's take a look and see what these look like. Just great stuff. But if I scroll back up, or I'll just say get started for free here, and I'm going to go to the Ignite UI for web components page. This will look the same for Angular, Blazor, React. It doesn't really matter. What you're going to see is a new help topic for open source versus premium. And we have tags for open source and premium. So the star would be premium components. If I scroll down, you're going to see a comparison table of what is in open source versus premium. So this isn't just like, controls I would never use. We haven't open sourced all the charts. but all the combo boxes, date pickers, drop down components, file inputs, the grid light, of course. And as I scroll down, you'll just see more and more open source components. The tile manager. I mean, this is an amazing component that is now open source. Good luck finding a tile manager that's open source. So if I actually type in tile here and let's go look at this tile manager, this is a component that we actually shipped new this year, but it is an unbelievable layout component that's just hits common scenarios that people really care about. Drag and drop, auto rearranging, different groups and sections. It is really a great component. So you can see here how these interactions are on the page, just smooth and beautiful. But that is one of the components that you get in open source. And you'll see here with the star the items that are premium and then the items that are open source. So not many stars. Most things here are going to be open source because we really want to deliver some amazing components in this open source toolkit, which does reduce that barrier for you to get started. So I'm going to pass it off to George. He's going to do a quick demo of App Builder, and then he's going to pass it back to me. I'm going to do a demo, and then we'll wrap this up. So George, you can take it away.
Hi there. So based on what Jason presented, I want to give you a quick overview of these two milestone features which we worked on in 2025. The first one is related to the multi-step conditional flows, and the second one is the AI productivity story. A great case in point of using these conditional flows and multiple actions per interaction is form, and anybody building enterprise applications is familiar with forms. We have always generated forms in a very quick way where you can drag and drop an endpoint, which is a put or a post endpoint on the design surface, and we dynamically generate the form based on the definition provided in OpenAPI. Now, what the multi-step approach, what we can now do is if you look under the interactions tab, you can see that on the submit operation which is happening, we are able to do a data action, which is posting to the customer. And then we are able to do an if or else kind of scenario where we can specify a condition where in this case, I'm waiting for the API success to be returned as true. And then I can go ahead and do a bunch of operations based on that success condition. And if it fails, I have an alternate condition. In this case, it's showing a snack bar error. And as you can see here, every action can be configured. And as I mentioned earlier, I can also reorder it because this can be very essential for quick testing to understand that, okay, you wanted a certain flow to happen in a certain order, and we allow you to do that directly from here. So I'm not going to talk about everything else we have added into App Builder in terms of components, but I just wanted to highlight that this is a very powerful feature which allows you to create these kind of dynamic applications. Now, shifting gears to the second big theme I wanted to talk about is the AI-powered productivity. Now that we have made improvements to how AI integrates with App Builder, you can access AI in two different ways. The first way is, say that you're creating an application on your own and you want to use AI to make improvements or iterations on top of the design. Now that is possible because now AI is always available for you in the toolbox. But we have a different start point, which is like if you're actually creating a brand new application, you can actually start with AI directly to generate applications based on your prompt. And since I already mentioned that our AI would generate multiple views for your app, depending on what your application prompt is demanding. And it'll also include routing for this particular operation. So for the sake of this quick presentation, I actually have prepared a prompt which we can now access because we have the concept of a chat history. And in this chat history, you can see that I created a prompt to create a landing page for a habit tracking app using a modern theme. And this conversation, I have evolved this conversation just to show other things it can do. For example, generating images, generating themes, all of that can be done in just this one single prompt, and you don't have to prompt it separately. But that doesn't mean you cannot. You can definitely do that. And with what you're seeing on this main view here, if I just hit play, you can see everything in this particular application was generated with our AI generation. and I didn't retouch it in any way. And you can see that the AI also added these flows for sign up and log in automatically, because that's what we feel like this application would require. And of course, you can actually go ahead and go back to the edit experience and select any particular area. So for example, I go back to my main view here. And if I select this particular image, I can always invoke AI to iterate on something which I already have on the design surface. So for example, it knows that you are only expecting it to make some changes to a scoped area. So anytime I select a specific section, you can see that the AI input area automatically picks the name of that particular section. So it knows that that context is maintained. So I can come in here, I can type in the sidebar in the tab area, or I can come in here and say, generate a different image and let it run. And as you can see that it's going to just create this image generation request in that zone, and you don't have to do anything special, and it'll update that for you whenever it's ready. But if you are generating the entire application and if additional images are required, it will actually go ahead and generate all the images it needs in one single prompt. So you don't have to actually do it one by one. And based on your prompts, we are also able to suggest ways to enhance your app. If we think that the AI feels that there are some certain areas of the app which can be improved very easily, we suggest it as prompts, which you can just run it, like adding an animation, using alternative text for better accessibility. These kind of things can be done directly through the chat area itself. Now, while I was showing you generation of the entire application, generating of scoped areas inside the application, so that gives you a very rough idea of what I mean by the conditional flows and what AI for productivity is. But of course, this is just a beginning for us. We are going to add more and more capabilities into our AI engine. And as we beef up the core of App Builder with more functionality, all of those functionality will then be available to AI to do this for you through the prompt UI. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Jason, allowing you to continue this presentation for today.
That was great. Thank you, George. Great example of new features in App Builder and AI. We love that. And I'm looking forward to what's next in 2026. So before I wrap up the webinar, I want to highlight another product that we have at Infragistics called Reveal. Reveal is an embedded self-service analytics library. So it has a server piece and a client piece. And basically, if you think of like what you can do in a Power BI or a Tableau to construct your own dashboards or enable your users to build their own dashboards, that's what Reveal is all about. More and more of our ultimate customers that are doing digital transformation, they're trying to modernize their app experience, are looking to Reveal as a key piece of that. Modern dashboarding and reporting end up being really important when you're trying to increase revenue, increase renewals, maybe create new revenue streams, but Reveal does all of that for you. So revealbi.io is the website. You'll get all of this information in emails, but I want to highlight how we've integrated it into App Builder. So I have my App Builder here. It's just a basic several views here. I'm not going to use AI, even though I could. I'm just going to go to view 1 and I'm going to delete what's here on my screen, and I'm going to do a 2-pane layout, and I want this guy to be a little bit smaller. I'm not doing it, the way a designer would like George, but I just want a list here and I want my dashboard here. So what am I going to add here? So in the toolbox, if I do a search, you're going to see that we've got the Reveal dashboard component right inside of App Builder. Now, Reveal has a completely different license. It's licensed per app, not per developer, something you'll have to discuss with our sales team if you are interested in it. But we've put it here because we have so many customers crossing over using App Builder, using Reveal, etc. But this is my dashboard, and if I hit run, you'll see that, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. I've got some nice features. I can do some interactions. I can actually go to the overflow, click the edit button, and maybe change something from like product to territory, like no code. This is all built in. And of course, the underlying chart is the Ignite UI charts. But what I want to do here is do something a little bit more custom. So I'm going to go back into edit mode, and I actually have a server. You'll see here that this is working off of a cloud host right now. So I'm going to paste in localhost 5114, and I'm going to allow that. And that's actually a Reveal server that I have running. It's a .NET Core app that I have running locally. I can type in the name of a dashboard and you can see that something pops up. But what I really want to do here is I want to bind a list of dashboards to this list here. So I'm going to go over to my data sources and I am going to go do a REST API. We'll call this EOY 2025 for my data source. I have my Swagger. Yes, it's going to be an open API URL. So there's my localhost 5114, and let's configure my endpoints. So there's going to be a get here for dashboard names, and oops, I don't want my post. I just want this get for dashboard names. We'll send this guy details, and this has the dashboard file name and the dashboard title, exactly what I want. Let's select this data. I'm going to click done. Let's do Control E, and what do I want here? I want a list component, and in my list, I want to show the title of the dashboard. And in fact, if we make this a little bit bigger, you can see here I've got my list. I'm going to select data. What data do I want? Let's scroll down, and we're going to have EOY 2025 dashboard names. What's going to go in my title? Well, in this data source, we'll just put the dashboard title, and that's all we need. I could do things like show a thumbnail. I leave the avatar. It doesn't really matter. But the point is I want someone to select this, and I want to get the dashboard file name and then load that. So let's go to our interactions. I'm going to add an event. So my new variable is going to be selected dashboard. And of course, you could construct this however you'd like. Let's go ahead and create that local variable. And the value is going to be the dashboard file name. Great. Then what shows up here? So what shows up here is going to be the selected dashboard. So now when I run this application, you'll notice that as I select the dashboards that are on the server, I have a full self-service dashboard experience built without writing any code because I get all of that from Reveal. So here, if I want to edit this guy, I want to edit. You can see I can swap out values, categories, data filters. I can change this to just display by month, not year. I can change different settings. The idea is that Reveal accelerates your digital transformation by enabling a complete self-service embedded experience. You don't have to write any code to deliver this chart WYSIWYG drag and drop. The code you write is on the back end, like where's my data coming from? What's my user context? How should I load dashboards? But you can see I had all that set up. It was very easy to do that. And now I have a full featured application here. Looks beautiful, does what I want, and is giving me data insights where I need them. So with that, check out Reveal if you are interested in really modernizing your app experience, revealbi.io. And let's go back to the slides. Okay, so let's wrap up 2026 roadmap. What is a little bit more detail on what's coming here after those killer demos. You probably want to try all the 2025 stuff first, but Q1, more AI integration. We're going to be shipping our MCP servers, Ignite UI, more grid performance, zoneless grid. We'll have VS Code plugins. We'll have an updated version of our AI chat component. And it'll ship in Blazor, as I mentioned, and that will be part of that package. And more on the Blazor open source release, which is exciting. App Builder integrations, error state handling, RWD improvements. And then, of course, we are the maintainers of Apex Charts. So Apex Charts is the largest and most successful open source charting library on the planet. Well, maybe if not the largest, the second largest, but we're pretty darn close. We have millions of downloads, NPM installs per week, and it has some unique differentiating chart experiences. So we'll have a Gantt version from Apex Charts in the toolbox. We'll have Sandkey. We'll have an updated stock chart and just more cool charts from Apex flowing into App Builder and Ignite UI. And then Q2, more MCP servers, more AI, Elements grid parity with a Blazor focus. Query Builder is going to get a little bit more capability. You're going to be able to join tables. So then it becomes like something really compelling. Per component theming in App Builder, wow, that is something you've probably wanted for a while. And then ensuring that things like grid batch editing works across every framework. And then with App Builder, concurrency management is huge. Being able to edit a screen where others are editing it on your team. Interpolated bindings, wow. So I can have a string and then I could have like the bracket, property name bracket, and that's going to do data binding right in App Builder. So we're getting further into reducing that code that you are building out today. So we're going to continue on with more and more features. Q1, Q2, keep focused on the blogs because we do those monthly blogs with all of our updates. And really, we want to help you build your next generation great applications faster. So get the latest versions, upgrade to the latest Angular React Web Component Blazor, get 25.2, go to the website infragistics.com or igniteui.com, and you can take advantage of all of this now. Appbuilder.dev always has the latest versions, so you'll be able to just use App Builder, generate that code, and then you will have the latest versions of all of those frameworks. So I want to thank you for joining us today. We went a little bit over, but hopefully it was worth your time. So yes, get started. Explore App Builder, download 25.2, try Reveal, and then connect with us. Contact sales, contact me, join our forums, join our Discord servers, wherever you want to get in touch with us, we're probably there. And then, of course, keep an eye on the blogs for the roadmap updates, new webinars, release notifications, etc. And of course, everything's on GitHub as well. So github.com/IgniteUI. I want to thank George for a great demo. I want to thank the product team for all the hard work they did in 2025, and then looking forward to 2026. And I want to thank you for joining us today, being a customer or a prospect considering Ignite UI. We will see you at the next webinar, which there is one next week focused just on Reveal. If you want to learn more about Reveal, that's going to be on December 9th, 2025. So take a look at the blogs or your emails. Look out for that. But we'll definitely see you in 2026 with more updates across the entire Ultimate product line. And if we don't talk to you until then, have a great holiday, and we'll see you next year.